What if I told you that this food didn't start out in Japan? Not how we think. Let's talk about the history of sushi. The earliest form of sushi came from Southeast Asia in 2nd century CE, and it was called nare sushi, and it was more for preservation of the fish. So the rice that was wrapped around it was a fermentation situation. So we're not here yet. This was essentially salted fish in fermented rice, and this was meant to preserve it for days, for months, sometimes up to a year. And this process spread through China and then eventually to Japan in the 8th century. Now, originally, people would dispose of the rice that it was wrapped up in. They were like, this was just for preservation purposes only. Get out of here. Here's the good stuff, this year-old salted fish. But over centuries, Japanese chefs realized that this fermented rice actually didn't taste too bad. So they were like, hey, why are we throwing this away? Why aren't we eating them actually together? Get a full balanced meal. And by the 15th and 16th centuries, this has become a culinary style of this sushi and not just a preservation method. So sushi actually just means like the kind of seasoned rice. If you see sashimi, it is sashimi. It is not sushi. But if it's got rice, it's sushi. In the early 19th century, during the Japanese Edo period, a chef named Hanaya Yohei has created nigiri sushi. And this is the formed little rice mound with the fresh fish on top. This was essentially the Japanese fish sushi version of street food, and it was quick and it was easy. It was actually cheap, not today. It was kind of like the working person's food. So it was like, who wants your sushi? Get your sushi, like a hot dog cart. But for sushi, which sounds fun. I don't know, is that a thing? Now, for centuries, sushi was just a Japanese street food, but it wasn't until after World War II that Japanese cuisine became kind of globally recognized. In the 1960s and 70s, sushi started to pop up in places like Los Angeles, and we have Los Angeles to thank for the California roll. Now, there's a little bit of tea, a little bit of drama on who created it. You can catch that in the full episode. I'll spill all the details. Not enough time for this here. The ingredients were used because they seemed accessible to the California people. They were like surfers. They were cool. They were into health stuff. So they were like, yeah, man. And now sushi is everywhere. You can find conveyor belt sushi, very expensive omakase, and everything kind of in between. And if you want to learn more about the history of sushi, you can tune into this full episode on YouTube at the I Am Sprung channel, or you can listen as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Sprung on Food.